So I give you Mark Челлінор, International News Media Association, United Kingdom, and he's going to speak for approximately 40 minutes, after which you'll be able to ask questions of him.
Good morning, and thank you for your welcome. This is me. The first thing I should say is, I'm not a journalist. I'm a commercial guy. Everything I believe has to have a business plan for our future. So you might say, why am I here if I'm not a journalist? Well, three reasons. One is, as we all need to become more commercially aware for the business side of our company, we need to become more agile in our futures and relying on cross-discipline, multifaceted, multi-skilled teams of people who understand each other's worlds within media. And there are many commercial implications for the future of news media, and they're exactly the same for journalists, especially the Holy Grail, which we'll get to at the end of the presentation. This is me. I come from a city called Liverpool in the UK, the home of the Beatles, so I hope you understand my John Lennon accent. I have two hats. One is I work in my own company, advising media companies across the world on going digital. I also represent this thing which you've just heard about, which is an ideas sharing network for news media, and its mantra is sharing ideas and inspiring change. It's great to be back, I say back, in the Ukraine. I have been to Kiev before and had a fantastic time there, but I get the feeling that Lviv is such a warm and friendly place. I love it here already, so thank you for your welcome. But I do come from London, where I give you greetings. I live in London, work in London. A place which is still in Europe. Well, it is for at least another 3 or 4 weeks. We have a referendum in 4 weeks. That will be interesting. But it's home to much media in terms of the quality paid press, the mid-market and the popular press, the free press, a burgeoning magazine market, a lot of digital pure play companies, and of course the gorilla in the room, the BBC. And London, I think, has become, London media has become this microcosm for what's happening in terms of global trends worldwide. It's also home to a great number of good football teams, but I've been a little naughty here because rather than feature the London teams, I put my team, which is Liverpool, here. And whilst we had a hiccup last week that those who follow the game in the Europa League final, as I think Shakhtar did in the last round before that, nevertheless, I can see big changes happening in my club, and that's because of a certain man called Jürgen Klopp, a German who has come to manage the team. What he says, he judges the team and what he looks for in the future based on an equation. He says that if you get the right talent with the right attitude and you can see the potential, that gives a quality performance. Well, I have my own equation for the future of news media, and that's this. The creativity, whether it's bespoke advertising solutions, visual data journalism, etc., plus data, getting closer to our readers, understanding what they want from data we achieve, and technology, increasingly mobile technology, allows us to get closer and allows us to implement data and creativity. And all together, they give us a better experience. And whether you're selling baked beans or newspapers, the future is all about creating a better experience for our customers that they value, will pay for, and want to come back for. It's become a very complex world. It used to be very straightforward. Those cigarette smokers in the room will appreciate this slide. It's become very, very fragmented. How do we make sense of this fragmented world? Well, today I'll just cover some context and the environment which we all should realize that we are in today, times like we've never seen before. We'll talk about the Internet of Things and how we redefine mobile, whatever that is. We'll talk about creating this new experience, using new technologies to help us tell our story better. What's the lesson that leads to safeguarding the future, and what ultimately will be our savior? And in the background, by the way, is my favorite coffee shop in London. It's a little pop-up coffee shop, and I put it in for a reason, which you'll see at the end. We've all seen headlines like this, the death of newspapers. Well, they're still here. And what's technically known as an oh shit moment, publishers have seen their print in decline. They found it difficult, perhaps, to align the skills of staff, whether it's IT or creative or data or tech-focused staff. They found a big gap in the traditional versus the new digital revenue still, and there's so much education needed still around that. And as readers turn to smartphones, publishers have struggled to monetize that traffic thus far. There are lots of industry issues, ad blocking, native advertising, the Internet of Things and new technology. It all makes it very complex. Trust and engagement and measurement are all key for people going forward. And what we need to do is encourage loyalty and sharing and build, as I say, that better experience. But you know, this is a typical slide showing the circulation of newspapers in the UK. I could have picked any country. But if you look with the print and the PC and the mobile audience together, newspapers actually reach more people than ever before. The trick is how they monetize that for the future. So the Holy Grail really is centered around finding the difference between extinction and reinvention. It's not a race to the bottom. So why do we need to reinvent? Well, market trends point us in the direction of digital and mobile. Consumer ecosystems are all going digital. Advertisers chase readers wherever they go, and that could be on print, it could be on a desktop, it could be a tablet, or it could be a smartphone. Last year, my organization ran a disruption tour, as we called it, and we went to see in New York some of the new digital companies to see where the differences were between legacy and new digital companies. And overall, they say these are the keys to their success. It's about having journalism with an attitude. It's about ferociously digging deep into the content verticals, targeting a young adult urban dweller. One company of which we saw was Complex Media, and what they said they used to do was focus on fashion, video games, music, design. Now it's drilling into those verticals more: streetwear, sneaker culture, hip-hop, graphic art, getting closer, getting more granular. They say analytics is a key part of their corporate culture, not so much instinct. Advertising can be very bold, but also very subtle. And native advertising comes into the fore there. And it's very much about mobile first, desktop and tablet second. You see, this whole mobile thing, we are all addicted to our mobile devices. It's the jolt in the brain we have in the morning. It's the first thing you touch in the morning. It's the last thing you touch at night. Sadly, the average person checks their mobile over 100 to 200 times a day. The good news for media is that 66% of mobile users engage with news on their mobile device. But the challenge is that only between 2 and 5% of time spent is with actual core news. So people want something different from us for the future. They want things packaged differently. They want things to show us a different offering. But let's just take a step back. What is mobile first? Is it a connection through Wi-Fi? Is it a device through a phone or a tablet maybe? Or is it a behavior? And I can ask you to consider it that way. Mobile is about a behavior, which just happens to be through a device and a connection. Mobile can be so many things, as we'll see. You see, we've gone to a mobile-centric world where I've gone one over there, it doesn't matter. We've gone to a mobile-centric world where things are changing. We've gone to an era of digitization, of automation, of virtualization, of robotization, and this, my friends, is just the beginning. It is like the Terminator's rise of the machines. We're in a new landscape. We have a lot of interfaces around in the middle, as you can see there, but we're also today affected by things like novelty factors, originality, context, insight, research, visualization, reputation, so many things, relevance, for example. Nearly 2 billion people are interconnected today through social and mobile platforms. Our audiences are now the media. Readers are now the media. Villages are becoming global thanks to social and mobile around the world. And we are all identified by our IP address, our geolocation. We're reachable 24/7, where time and geography are abolished. It's a whole new world we've never seen before. And many media companies today are in an area where they're trying to fill that revenue hole between traditional and ad migration, keeping relevance for the multimedia mobile consumer and managing the perceptions of sometimes confused consumers who see different brand propositions on different platforms. And what we're all trying to work out is how much time do we invest in the traditional versus the digital era? And how do we measure the return on investment in all of this? But you know, it is mobile that's changing our universe. We are moving much more to a mobile dominant society. A lot more powerful, cheaper devices. Wi-Fi and connectivity everywhere. Most of the people in this room, I guarantee, will actually have grown up in that world. Technology is driving distribution costs, which gives better access to everyone, and high definition screens everywhere, both at home and in your hand. If you overlay that, the acceleration of things like social, consumers choose, and that choice will continue to be increasingly broad or niche, varied, instant, personal, and increasingly on mobile devices. And in exchange for this content, consumers will continue to share their personal data, their interests, their demographics, their device usage, their location, more with advertisers and media companies, and increasingly on mobile. You see, there are lots of opportunities around today which weren't existing 3 or 4 years ago. Companies are waking up to mobile. There's more awareness, more questioning. The rise of the smartphone makes everything so much easier. This long-term evolution, making things faster, the increase in bandwidth makes it easier. There are better case studies, better mobile advertising opportunities, better content availability, and there's a dawning of a new mobile metrics era too. And this Internet of Things, you know, whether you're ordering a pizza or anything at all, getting a new fridge, everything is starting to become connected. So how do we cope with that? This is a typical day in the life of the Daily Telegraph, one of the big newspapers in London, and you can see how people react and go to different platforms throughout the day. What we have to do is bear in mind whichever media we're in, we can't just serve the same content to everyone at every time of the day when they're in a different mindset. In fact, we know that, for example, with the Telegraph, 80% of women and 72% of men say they read the Telegraph on iPad in bed. They view that as a continuation of the print product, and they know where it starts and know where it finishes. So they like to feel like they've completed the thing at the end of the day. I'm not sure what that says about the sexual health of the nation, but that's where we are. So you see, there are many platforms to market, and they all have different assets. The newspaper still is about the heritage, the shutting out the world for a while. The website is about easy access, getting information quick, and maybe sharing with friends. The mobile app or the mobile site is news in your pocket. It's skimmable. It's a filler for your day. And the tablet is more the laid-back, beautiful, curated second screen experience, and a lot more enjoyment for some. And we need to consider these, particularly the ones we've circled there. So what we found is not death, but a reinvention of people realizing that there's a new world and how we serve content. A new generation of owners perhaps are having different motives. We're seeing Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, owning the Washington Post now. Who'd have thought that? And we're looking where traditional media brands fit in these times we've never seen before, and how do we create a better experience where everything is connected, everything's intelligent, everything's in real time, everything's personalized, and everything becomes cross-platform. There are going to be, depending who you talk to, about 75 billion connected devices by the end of this decade. What are you doing about that? The accelerator, though, is what we might define as mobile. This is the chief executive of the New York Times, who said at a conference last year, people have a continuous relationship with their smartphone. The war will be won for us on the smartphone. There is no doubt about it. But in understanding that, we need to understand the conversational nature of mobile. And there are three things to understanding the mobile landscape. Firstly, time, location, context. Secondly, realizing it's a conversation, a dialogue, not a monologue anymore. It's about engagement. And realizing that it's also a very personal and powerful device, and we should respect that. In a world where average is awful, we have to see what creates value for our readers and our consumers. And this is where customer experience management comes in. You'll recognize this. This is Siri from the iPhone. They say if you ask a silly question, you get a silly answer. This is a real question, and you can see the silly answer that it was given. But you know, it learns. It becomes more intuitive. It learns about you. It becomes more personal to you, and ultimately becomes an aid to you through an artificial intelligence. It's all about giving you a better experience. And one great example of many I could show you is Domino's Pizza. If anyone has ordered a Domino's Pizza, what you used to do was to call them and say, I'd like a pepperoni pizza, please. 25 minutes, you give your credit card, 25 minutes later, bing bong, there's your pizza at the front door. Now what they do, this sounds like madness, but I'll tell you why it's genius. Well, now what they do is have a pizza tracker, so you can follow in real time the journey of your pizza. So the red bar there shows you the order being placed. It moves to preparation phase, the pepperoni's going on. Then it goes to the baking mode, then into the box, and then with a transponder on the bike, you can see your pizza and how far it is from your house, until when it gets to the end of the line, bing bong, there's your pizza. Now it sounds like stupidity, but the reason why it's genius is because they are now putting contextual content around this to keep you interested and to keep you engaged with the brand. So what they've done is swapped a 2-minute experience with the brand for now a 25-minute one. And it's a huge lesson for everyone in that. So I think taking that example, what we are going to see is marketing technology and increasingly mobile technology becoming the bridge between customer intelligence through big data and this customer experience, which if we get it right, will be shared more by social media platforms especially. If anyone went to an English marketing school to learn marketing, they teach you 4 things about marketing. The 4 P's of marketing, which are product, price, place, and promotion. Well, I think the future is all about this. It's going to change to 4 E's. It's the experience. It could still be a physical product, but it will be more about creating an experience around it. The price may still be a physical price, but it could also be an exchange of data maybe. The mobile game companies do a fantastic job of this. Place will become content anytime, anywhere. And if we get it right, we create a bunch of ambassadors who are happy to evangelize on our behalf. So let's just have a couple look at a couple of mobile technologies that help us navigate this new age, one of which is augmented reality, AR. I'm sure you might know what this is, but if you don't, it's an integration of computer-generated imagery onto real life. It's a mobile app experience. The mobile camera acts like an eye to recognize and instantly unlock scannable material. So you could scan an ad in a newspaper and bring it to life. I'm just going to show you what we did with the Telegraph in London. This is a project started in 2013 and has become so popular that continuing in version 7 is just about to come out now, not 6. So this is someone describing what we did. This looks like a copy of the Daily Telegraph. It's not. It's one specially made for advertisers and advertising agencies who are used to buying print. And what this does allows them to see the ads in print brought to life digitally so they can help them buy them.
The consumption of media has developed at pace, and so have we. Our audience is larger than ever, and I'm going to take you through Toolkit 4.0, which will demonstrate some of our most impactful ad solutions across all of our platforms. So first things first, download the Blipper app to your smartphone or tablet device, and that will ensure you get a full experience throughout. If you take our newspaper app, that impactful format sells itself. And if you hold your device over it using the Blipper app, you'll be able to see how we can replicate that on the website, increasing your audience by 35% and your online actions by 13%. So now I'm going to bring something new to the UK market. This is a print cascade, and as you can see, really allows you to get creative. Again, blip it, and you'll be able to see our award-winning digital format that we launched last year. So every page of this newspaper is fully interactive. Whether you're looking at 3D, disruptive or tactical formats, everything can be brought to life with your device. I'll leave you to explore that, but make sure you use the pink boxes as a guide, and they also give you valuable insight into our audience.
And that's become a massive revenue generating tool as well, which I don't have time to talk about today, but if anyone wants to know, grab me later and I'll explain. But we have then started to use that in the newspaper too, for creating experiences for the audience which are better than just the print one. And virtual reality, a new storytelling and commercial tool. Oculus Rift, you may know, was bought by Facebook for a stupid amount of money back in 2014, and we're starting to see VR, virtual reality, come to the fore now in the race for mobile technology. Google have launched this thing, which is the Google Cardboard, the cheaper version of it, but we're going to see a whole range of devices, headsets to wear in the virtual reality space. You just pop your phone in the front, download the app, and you get an immersive experience. And it's interesting to see what's happening in the space. I'm going to play you a short video from the States of the Immersive Journalism School to give you a flavor of what's starting to happen. If we get the sound up for this, if we can. Just watch the reaction of the girl when she takes the headset off in terms of how immersive this technology is.
Everything you're about to hear in the goggles when you walk through this space really happened. And I hope people don't feel daunted when they walk by and they see this strange equipment, because believe it or not, this is going to make you feel like you're actually there, actually witnessing a real scene. It's an extraordinary opportunity to be building an immersive journalism piece about Syrian children refugees. This is one of the most pressing issues of our time. We make these pieces because we can put you on scene, make you feel like you're a witness to an actual event. You're not separated by a television or a screen, or you actually feel like you're there. I started as a print journalist, and then I became a documentary filmmaker. And so I took all that knowledge in my traditional journalistic skills and married it with my love of technology.
So what's she talking about? Well, here's a little snippet. This is a test demo of actually putting someone on scene. So imagine you're wearing these goggles here. This is using avatars, but imagine a real future, real scene. The sound you hear is a real scene from the streets of Syria, and the incident you're watching is a real scene too.
كان من الحب يا حامل يسعى all Syrians have been displaced by the war. Reports indicate children have been specifically targeted in the violence.
So you get a flavour. In fact, the New York Times recently in this space gave away 1 million of these things inside their magazine on a Saturday, sponsored by GE and Mini. And if you want to have a look any more of this, I would ask you to download an app called VRSC, and you can get a flavour using your smartphone of some of this technology in place. But so much so that New York Times, amongst other media companies, have now launched an app for this, where they launch journalistic videos onto the site. Axel Springer in Germany have recently acquired shares in a virtual reality company. There's so much I can talk about this, which I don't have time to, but I would show you this. This is the way the Fairfax news media company in Australia are starting to resurrect their classified advertising in terms of property. So they can now show you around the property without you actually visiting the place. I was a judge at last year's Mobile Marketing Awards, and Virgin Holidays actually have stores, 50 stores in the UK, where you can go and book a holiday. What they did was, while you're waiting to be served, they gave you these things and allowed you to see some of the destinations in virtual reality of the places they're wanting to push in their sale. And what happened was they had an 86% uplift in the pushed destinations and 5% rise in holidays generally. It's a powerful thing. My friend from Liverpool, Mr. McCartney, have a look at this app and put you on stage during Live and Let Die with the fireworks. It gives you a much more immersive feel, and that's the way music will be sold in future. And finally, one little scary thing, the British government have recently employed Birmingham University to create a virtual reality table with augmented reality overlay screens so they can see a fighter pilot's view of from a cockpit from behind a desk in Birmingham, so they can control a war from actually many thousands of miles away, which is quite a scary thought, but there we are, that's the technology being used in a different way. And anyone who's a fan of music and likes the band Pink Floyd, I can tell you their lead singer, a guy called Roger Waters, produced an album in 1982, which had this album here, Commused to Death, and the track, The Bravery of Being Out of Range, talked about this very technology. This guy was obviously ahead of his time. But going forward, wearable technology is forecasted to be larger than smartphones. Its implications are far-reaching, and it continues to grow. Wearables has a potential from units sold as a category to be bigger than tablets. It's much more expansive. And wearables could be a VR headset, it could be a watch, it could be something on your hip, in your clothing, a tattoo on your skin. The hurdles to get in the market are really low, so there's going to be a serious expansion of the category over the next decade. For the moment, of course, we have this, the smartphone, and people are still working out how to use this. One interesting little snippet on this is Deloitte have said that they think there's going to be 21 million units sold by the end of next year. And they say by the time we get to 2020, 1 million people could well go to the Olympics with something wearable where they could stream live video. And the question, of course, remains, what does that mean for the broadcast companies who are spending fortunes for the rights for things like sporting occasions when I could do it live on my wrist? And that has implications for the likes of Periscope and Meerkat too, but there's no case study yet, it's all still brand new. But this is what the Washington Post are doing, an editorial story about teenagers and having less sex these days, of all things. And these are the screens from their phone. And notice again, the business model at Brain On, it's sponsored by a car firm at the end. Experiments, it's all still new. So we are seeing smart mobile devices having human characteristics. We have sight through the camera, hearing through the microphone, touch through the touch screen. Smell and taste, of course, would be fantasy. Or maybe not, because that's where haptic technology comes in, putting the physical onto the virtual world. There is a mixed reality lab at the City University in London, which is using a multi-sensory web, including a smartphone plugin that enables someone to send a kiss across wherever the environments, the country is, where people's kisses can be physically recorded and translated from afar. A digital taste stimulator is being worked on with a restaurant in Spain called Margaret's, which allows diners to smell dishes through the menu through their smartphones. This sounds like science fiction, but it's not. And finally, there is also an app being worked on where people can smell the sound, hear the sound and smell the sizzling bacon when they wake up to their alarm clock in the morning. These are not science fictions, these are real. So the point of me saying this is that this is a quote from one of the leading technology experts in the UK. He says, "I confidently predict we will all be wearing our mobile phones as fashion items rather than carrying them in our pockets. And then I fancy my favorite app is going to be one of artificial intelligence, an aid that will instantly answer my every query, such as diary, travel, messages, contacts, etc. Today I carry my phone in my pocket. Tomorrow I'll be wearing it. But there will come a point where mobile technology is so intelligent, it will wear me. Think about it. At the moment, you take the dog out for a walk because you're its master, the more intelligent and capable being. Smarter mobile phones and artificial intelligence apps may well redress that balance. Well, we shall see. But I would point to this. This is now on sale in America. It's the augmented reality Barbie, and it learns about you in a much better way than Siri ever does. And this is a little snippet from the launch.
I want to be a scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
And so it goes to conversation, and it learns about the man. There's a lot of privacy issues around all of this, of course, as you can imagine. But artificial intelligence, the science of making clever machines, we should envisage an exciting scenario, one in which computational power is directed at the emotional and psychological dimensions of existence. It's time to imagine not merely AI, artificial intelligence, but also one which is artificial emotional intelligence. Getting the right information to a wide circulation is difficult because our brains are designed to be more engaged by the wildly exceptional rather than what's important and maybe the sober. In the future, with artificial emotional intelligence, we will know how to lead people to information which is important for journalists, that is genuinely fruitful for them, rather than merely stories that shock or titillate or horrify. We'll get a better media and in turn more democratic politics, I believe. So what's the lesson here? How do we keep attracting customers? Well, many media companies I've seen have not quite grasped this, but they're going to. Caviar has a high price. Peanuts are free. And it doesn't surprise me still to see a lot of media companies, not just newspapers, but media generally, who still operate like this. People will not pay for stuff they can get elsewhere for free. What we need to do is generate a world that's like this. And that's not just in terms of our mobile offering, but right across our company. So the caviar is still traditional for many, but over time, it'll become much more multimedia, more interactive, more social, more content for the environment that they're working and reading you in. More mobile and certainly more of an experience. Technology plus data plus creativity, as I said earlier, gives this new experience. And a quick word about why you should take this seriously too is because advertisers and agencies want this new world too. They want pure reach. They want target-rich environments. They want high engagement. They want purchase intention on the back of it. They want relevant data, and they want an engaging experience. I saw this, I think you'll find this amusing. This was a group of readers in the UK who produced a short video to show their local newspaper why their website is a terrible experience. See if you can relate.
Let's stop. Can I have your back, please? Get off! Give me that! Well, I want to have that one there. I want to read that. This is ridiculous. What's going on here? Oh, hang about. There we go. We're gone now. That's right. Oh, come on. Get off.
You get the flavour. But you know, the power of mobile advertising is what we all need to take seriously. It could safeguard our futures, because look at this. This was an advertising, a survey, of 15,000 mobile users across all continents in the world. And look what they said. 75% said they'd been introduced to something new via a mobile. 2/3 said it gave better options. Half had said it influenced an in-store buy. And another half had said they'd actually made a purchase with their mobile. And that's why we all need to take this space so seriously. And I'm not going to get into the whole advertising on types of advertising today. It's safe to say that the power you can see from here, the dwell time on native content, when we start to embed it as part of the whole weave of the fabric of the newspaper, gets a much bigger engagement level. That's all I'll say for that. Much better to see the inside of a car, the video on the road and how it performs, than just a printout, don't you think? So creativity matters in digital, and consumers' expectations are really high. Touchscreen interfaces, HTML5 is making mobile advertising more personal, more engaging, irrespective of the screen size. What we must do is exceed their expectations. And one quick word about video, and I know we're going to hear about this later, so I'm not going to concentrate on this. Mobile video traffic is booming, and it's surging, and there's gold in online video. Audi did a campaign, saw an 80% increase in engagement level when they just did vertical video, because that's how you hold your phone. Not this way, this way. Just nuances that all matter. You can check that out further. But this is my friend from the New York Times who said, if the thing that the marketer wants to say is so dull, it misses the moment of engagement, the consumer will click it into oblivion in one heartless thumb swipe. And how so true that is in today's world. So finally, there's one thing which holds all this together. Does anyone know what this is? Well, I can tell you, it's just bits of data. But if you put them together in a certain way, you get one of these. And the point of it, me saying that, is that we all have access in our organizations to first-party data, whether it's web registrations, subscription data, web analytics, emails. If you add that to industry-available information, we can start to create something really powerful. And I would suggest to you that every media company needs to know basic things from the data that they're generating, whether it's their gender, their birthday, the date they signed up with you, the source where they came from, the purchase history over time, the subscription details, the lifetime value expectation. All these things, their personal interests and the social media behavior. And how we turn data into smart data, which is going to save us, is looking at what times and for how long do they access your site. How frequently does they visit you on a desktop or a tablet or a smartphone? In what unique ways do they engage? Which things do they linger on for longer? And what are they really interested in? And how frequently do they actually browse on desktop versus tablet versus smartphone? And you know, data is indeed the holy grail of digital media, and what we all need to do is extract it, manipulate it, and commercialize it. I think media companies are perfectly positioned to action that big data in the same way Amazon does, to understanding audiences, promoting content and products, and targeted advertising and increasing subscriptions. I think we'll all become our mobile data banks going forward. We'll expect more interactions. We'll need to re-establish our trust with our customers again, but smartphones are the gateway to this new world. You know, it's like people say, it's like big data is like teenage sex. Why? Because everyone talks about it, but nobody really knows how to do it. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing it, so everyone claims they're doing it. I hope you're not applying the teenage sex mentality. So the conclusions are, it's all about reaching a relevant audience going forward, a defined demographic. It's about using the different platforms which all have a unique value. But there's a growing maze and there's a big education still done. Look at this, remember this slide of no other. This is where we are today. We have the foundational elements of the future life. We have the internet, we have social, we have mobile, we have the cloud, we have big data. We are about to see some accelerators come onto our lives. 3D printing, the Internet of Things. This is where the VR and AR and AI comes in. Robotics. But look at the world that we know nothing of yet. Connected cities, smart cities, sharing economies, driverless vehicles, etc., etc. And it's all going to be mobile. I hope you're excited, not scared by that. So every media company's future success is all about, oh, we've lost this. Have I kicked something out here? No, it's gone. There it is. It's about knowing the audiences, where they are. It's about knowing what our agencies and advertisers want. It's backing up of how we do things. It's working with credible people and making sure those people are with us on side. They say where the eyeballs go, that's where the money goes too. I would say who those eyeballs belong to and how they receive your information is also really important. So finally, the key takeaways are, think about your future audiences and where they'll be. Remember, it's a new space for everyone. You've got to experiment still, but have strategies. And it's not just about making money, it's about data, it's about immersion, it's about engagement. But innovate with multi-platform, bespoke and relevant offerings. The mobile opportunity is all about behavior. It's about adding a new dimension to what you do. It's about rejuvenating products using new experiences. It's enhancing your position as a brand. It's about using the data that you can generate. It's a fantastic content distribution method, and it also can be a new revenue stream. The business case for mobile is about customer value. It's about brand engagement. It's about business impact. And it's about mobile agility. What we are going to see going forward in life is a convergence of all these things. Convergence of virtual and physical payments, mobile networks and data services, of print and mobile and connected devices, and physical, augmented and virtual reality. And together, they all enhance the customer experience. The last words go to this man. He's a commentator in the States, Jeff Jarvis. He said, because I use Google Maps and its traffic app Waze to navigate every day, Google knows accurately where I live, where I work, allowing it to serve me more relevant content, advertising and commerce. My own local newspaper doesn't know any of that, so it continues to give me the same 300 pieces of content it gives everybody else and treats me as a mass. Google treats me as an individual because it knows me as an individual. And that is a lesson for all of us, I believe. In other words, be relevant and be valued. As I say, I hope you're excited by all of this and not scared. There's never been a better time to be in media if we just get our act together. You remember what this man said, Charles Darwin? It's not the strongest of the species that survives, it's the one that's most adaptable to change. And I see a big change happening in the news media industry. And finally, I said I'd mention my coffee shop. Well, this is a pop-up coffee shop in London. I go there every morning to get a coffee. And why do I put it on the screen? Because outside this little tent, they have this. And all I'm saying is if a little coffee shop in a tent can get involved in a new mobile digital world, shouldn't we all be? That's it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.